Okay, in this video I'm going to detail how we are going to make wine out of the invasive plant Japanese knotweed. Last spring we picked a lot of Japanese knotweed and we had made one batch of wine, and then we froze the leftover chopped Japanese knotweed, and now we are going to thaw it out and make wine from the remaining amount. This year we are going to use a wild berry additive kit that we purchased at Nobel Grape, and we also need wine conditioner, corn sugar, and white grape concentrate. So we're hoping that this one turns out slightly better than our last one. So once the Japanese knotweed is thawed out, we already had it chopped, you just start mashing it, get some of the juices out. And the kit requires 14.5 liters, and we only have about 7 there, so we're going to thaw out some more that we have in the freezer before proceeding. We're going to be following the directions for rhubarb because they don't make directions for Japanese knotweed. Okay, so step one, after we added the 14 liters of the chopped Japanese knotweed, is you must add packet 1 from the kit, which contains a pectic enzyme which will help break down the fruit, and it also contains potassium metabisulfate, which is going to sanitize the Japanese knotweed to get rid of any molds or other yeast that may have been present on it. So stir that in, and you can't pitch your yeast for 3 days because the potassium metabisulfate that's used to sanitize everything would also kill the yeast. So I still got a big frozen chunk in there, but I've got a heating belt on it to help thaw it out. And yeah, I'll wait 3 days. I'll pitch my yeast. Okay, it's day 4 of making our Japanese knotweed wine. Today we are going to add 4.5 kgs of corn sugar, 1 liter of white grape concentrate, 30 grams of nutrients, acid and tannin blend for growing the yeast, about 20 grams of bentonite, which we're going to dissolve in hot water, and when that's all done, we'll pitch our yeast on top. Just keep stirring this until you get as much as the chunks dissolved. It's good to add it slower so that they don't form chunks. So we'll add the white grape concentrate. Just a little bit more liquid for stirring. Put a little bit of water in the bag too, and then that out to get the rest of it out. You want every last drop, but it doesn't matter. Add your corn sugar. This dissolves a lot easier than regular sugar. I have made wine with regular sugar before, but this is much easier. So, especially where we have so much fruit in this bucket, that it'd be a lot easier to dissolve into it. With sugar, it would be almost impossible because all the grit would go to the bottom, and you almost can't stir this. There's so much stuff in it. Okay, and add your nutrient acid and tannin blend. This is because knotweed does not have the same thing in it that grape skins would have, that the yeast kind of require for growth and for proper wine flavoring. So I'm going to add the bentonite, which I dissolved in boiling hot water. It's cooled down a little bit now. So let's add that and stir that in. Bentonite removes proteins that will make your wine foggy at the end, so it's an essential part of winemaking. It's a type of clay. We put the heat belt on our bucket because our temperature is too low to pitch the yeast. Now that it is above 20 degrees Celsius, we are able to pitch the yeast. You don't have to stir it on, just sprinkle it on top. And you wait 24 hours for the yeast to be growing. And then you will stir it every day after that for 6 days before doing the next step. So this is what the wine looks like after 24 hours. You can see that the yeast is nice and active. There's lots of bubbles. The pinkish red color is being extracted from the knotweed. You can see a little hint of that when you pick it, and then it kind of went away after we'd froze it, but it's coming back now. So time to stir it up so that the top doesn't go moldy or anything like that, dry out and go moldy. So another reason to stir it frequently is so that it doesn't get all pushed up and overflow, which it came pretty close to doing. So just push it all back down in. But good activity. Try a slightly bigger bucket for this. When we strain out the fruit, there's not going to be quite as much liquid, so trying to get about 20 liters or so out of this. So see how it goes. It smells nice. It smells like bread. It's day 10, and today's step is to remove the Japanese knotweed, and then I'm going to strain the liquid into a carboy. So I'm just going to do a preliminary scoop and get that into a strainer. And let the liquid drip down for a little bit as I add more. Then from this container, I'm going to move it to a glass carboy once I fill this. And if you look over here, you'll see that it's a nice pink color. Okay, this is our wine after we've transferred it from the bucket and strained out all the Japanese knotweed. It looks pretty brown, almost like chocolate milk. That's just because there's quite a bit of yeast throughout it, but that will settle by tomorrow. It'll be a nice pink color, and the end result wine will be nice and clear. We attached a bung or airlock, and now we wait till day 31 before doing our next step. I'll probably put the heat belt on it to keep it at the temperature around 25 degrees Celsius, and I'll cover it with a garbage bag just to keep sunlight out of it. Okay, so the wine has had 2 days to settle. This is what it will look like. Nice pinkish orange glowy color, and all the yeast and any residue of the green knotweed settled to the bottom. Very nice color. It's Day 31. It's time for me to move on to my degassing, stabilization, and clearing step. The wine is settled very well, so I'm going to siphon this into another carboy, leaving the sediment behind, and just taking the wine. I don't have it topped off yet. I purposely waited despite what the instructions said, because normally in a wine kit you would top off after this stage. So once I get the wine siphoned into the other carboy, I'm going to add some sorbate and some metabisulfate, which are both preservatives and help stop any further yeast fermentation, or it should be complete anyways, and also suppress like molds. So they just act to keep it from going to vinegar as well. And then I'm going to add, this is different than what I usually get, but it's a chitin based 2-part clarifying kit. So I'm going to add packet 1. I have to stir it in to try to degas, then I add packet 2, and then I stir it in and try to degas. And after I'm done doing that, then I'm going to top up to within 2 inches of where the bung will be, and I'm going to use some knotweed wine that we made last year and some white wine that we have also made, just to give it a little bit more body. And then once I'm done that, we only have to wait another 15 days before bottling. Adding packet 3A, and then stir. Vigorously. Require 2 hands. And add packet 3B. Stir. So I'm going to add packet 1 of the clarifier. It says it's Kai Celsol. I've never seen this in a wine kit before, but we add this and then wait 1 to 24 hours before adding the chitosan. So because it's kind of late, I'm going to add it now, and then do the rest of the steps tomorrow, which will be fine, and I won't top up until tomorrow either. But that'll give it lots of time to react. Cut a bigger hole in my bag. So just pour that in and stir it up. So I've waited 24 hours, and the wine changed color from its pink hue to more of this orange hue after we added some of the preservatives and the other things. I'm going to add the chitin now. Last time I made knotweed wine, it did change from a pink color to a clear. So it looked almost like water after we were done. But we didn't. Last time we didn't use a bunch of steps that we normally use in a wine kit. So we're gonna do it this time. We did add the chitin last time, which changed it from a clear. But I don't believe we added sorbate. I think we just added potassium metabisulfate. So this one will turn out slightly different, hopefully better, even though the other one was good. Just add your chitinase and then stir it up. And it's going to need to have to be stirred with 2 hands. Try to get all the air out. And basically just use the spoon upside down, pivot it around rapidly. Another method I might try for degassing is erecting a pump to suck out the air, but you need a pretty powerful pump. Once it creates a vacuum, it'll draw carbon dioxide out of the fluid first. Once you're done degassing, just top it up. It's going to take quite a bit to top this one up. I'm going to add wine on tap that we have, which is labeled Youth Serum. We have this one, a white wine, and a red wine in our basement at all times for drinking. And there's not much left in this bag, so I'm going to finish up this bag, and then I'm going to top off the rest of it with white wine, which will give a little bit more body. I've added the knotweed wine. It's topped up within 2 inches of the bung. Heat belt on. Wait another 15 days, at which point it'll be time to bottle, and we're gonna add sweetener for flavoring. It's day 45, so it's time to bottle our wine. There is some suspended sediment in our wine, although it looks fairly clear. Yeah, I don't think it's going to show up. That's why we're going to filter it into our sanitized bucket, and then we're going to add our wine conditioner, and we're actually going to put it into sanitized bags. They come sanitized, so we don't have to sanitize those. And then we'll let them age a bit before we drink them. Once you finish filtering your wine into the bucket, you can add the amount of sweetener. We'll start with half a bottle and keep testing it until it tastes good to us. And then we're going to siphon it into these bags, and we're done. And we took some of it before we sweetened it and put it into a glass, so there's an idea of the clarity and color, and it tastes pretty good.